Gucci Intense Oud. When this first came out, there was a lot of hype surrounding it. It flew off the shelves. It was immensely popular. As the years went by, people started to call this the best designer oud fragrance for men. However, in recent years, there have been rumors of discontinuations and reformulations of this fragrance. Now, a lot of people now think that this is a lot weaker and, less powerful and worse than it used to be. So I'm here to address those concerns and also tell you what I think about this particular fragrance. So if those things pique your interest, you might want to stick around and check out this review. Hello everybody, welcome back to Real Scent Review. Your host Joe here. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you enjoy my content, please just, click that button in the bottom right hand of the screen. Subscribe to my channel, helps me out, and also giving a like would really help out as well. So thank you guys. The holidays are coming up. I hope everybody's getting prepared. I thought, in honor of the holidays, I'm going to go over one of my favorite fragrances for you guys here. Gucci Intense Oud. This one here has, let's just say a lot of controversy surrounding it, notably because of reformulation concerns and discontinuation concerns. When this first came out in 2016, it was just insanely popular. Everybody was buying it. It flew off the shelves. It was heralded as one of, if not the best, oud designer fragrances for men at the time. And while a lot of people still say that about this scent, like I said, there's been some concerns about reformulation and even discontinuation about this one. I'll address one of those concerns right off the bat here, the discontinuation. It is not discontinued as of this video. This is December 2022. I'm looking here. My lot number of this particular bottle is 2185. This was manufactured earlier this year in 2022. You can look that up if you want to. So it is not discontinued. However, it is now manufactured in Spain by Puig, the company based out of Barcelona. They actually make a lot of fragrances for a lot of top designer brands out there. As far as I know, the earlier versions of this were made in France, if I'm not mistaken. However, correct me on that, guys, in the comments if I'm wrong. Anyway, I'm going to get this out of the way. Gonna open it up and give a spray. As I said, it is one of my favorite fragrances, so let's give it a shot. So yeah, the distribution of the Atomizer it's not a very powerful Atomizer. I find it gives just a small squirt. So this one, you might want to spray a little bit more than usual. The name is Intense Oud, but it's not really what I would call intense. I'll get to that later. Anyway, so, okay, very pleasant smell. The official notes for this are the following. Oud, incense in the top. In the mid, olibanum and wood. And in the bottom, the dry down, we have leather and amber. As usual, I detect something different from what the actual official note breakdown is. So what I actually detect in Gucci Intense Oud is the following. In the top, I get definitely cherry, raspberry, and incense. In the mid, I get more raspberry, some oud, and some more incense. And the dry down for me is mostly composed of a sort of a burnt wood smell, kind of a smoky wood, which might sound off-putting, but I assure you it is fantastic. It is glorious. It's very classy. So I'll get into the name of this, Intense Oud. Oud is present in this. It starts to come out around the mid-life of this fragrance. It is by no means the most prominent note. It is there. It is not intense. It is not an animalic or skanky or barnyard type oud. This is very accessible. It's very classy. The most prominent notes to my nose are definitely the raspberry and incense. So raspberry and incense are the two most prominent notes to my nose, although the other ones do make themselves apparent. So Starts off very fruity, right? With the cherry and the raspberry, and it has this backbone of incense. It's just really, really nice, top notch. Um, I like the way the oud presents itself in the midlife. Although, like I said, it's not powerful. This is not a type of oud that's going to turn people off. This is what I would call sort of a professional oud, because this is office safe, and I'll get to that later. Anyway, so yeah, and in the dry down, I love the burnt wood smell. I'm a huge fan of smoky fragrances. You know, the smokier the better. And I'm always looking for more recommendations, guys. If you know any smoky fragrances, leave it in the comments below. I'm always trying to learn new things. Let's address some concerns about reformulations here. What are the reasons why a fragrance house would decide to reformulate a product? Well, there's two main reasons. Number one being the IFRA decides to ban certain essential oils and fragrances. You know, we saw the banning of oak moss, like real oak moss was banned back in, I believe, 2017 by the IFRA because oak moss caused a lot of allergic reactions on many people's skin. So since then, there have been no fragrances manufactured with real oak moss essential oil. That's one example. So because of that, a lot of fragrance houses have had to reformulate their products to not include real oak moss essential oil. Like another reason why a fragrance house would decide to reformulate a product is if a company is bought out or acquired by a larger company, a lot of times that mother company will, in order to cut costs, they will decide to essentially add more alcohol to fragrances, thereby reducing the, essential oil content of the fragrance. Gucci has not been made to ban any ingredients that were present in Intense Oud, and they have not been acquired, right, since 2016. So, look, I don't know for sure if this has been reformulated or not. I have to say, I did smell this when it came out back in 2016, and I'm smelling it now, and honestly, it smells pretty much the same as what I remember. The performance on this one might be a little bit lower, but look, I'll be honest with you, there's this thing in the perfume industry called maturation. Not maceration, maturation. So I'll get the first one out of the way first. Maceration is the process of leaving a fragrance to sit so all the ingredients can marry and blend together well. That happens at the actual laboratory, right? Before it's ever released, before it's ever put on a shelf, there's a maceration period. So if you buy a bottle of cologne in a store, it has already macerated. So that's the first concern out of the way. Maturation is a slightly different thing. Maturation happens when you already have the bottle and you let some of the liquid exit the bottle so that air replaces it. You see this here? There's more air in this. And when air is added to the mixture, now mind you, I do not have a degree in chemistry clearly, but when air is added to this, it mixes with the alcohol and the oils that are already in the perfume. And essentially, the longer you leave it in your closet or on your shelf or wherever, it makes the fragrance stronger over time, right? It allows the notes to blend even more inside the bottle. And if there's any beer fans out there, you'll know what I mean by glass aged or bottle aged, right? So I won't get into that right now. That's a story for another time. But it's a similar concept here with perfumes and colognes. When I first got this a few months ago, I was underwhelmed by both of the scent and the performance. Mind you, this was made not even 6 months ago, right? Maybe a little bit more than 6 months ago. But the point is, it's not even a year old. This exact bottle, only came out this summer of 2022, right? So it's very new. When I first got it, I was underwhelmed. Like I said, it had poor performance. The smell was very weak. Now, 6 months later, in December, I've allowed this to mature in my closet. There's a night and day difference here. This has become a much deeper, a much richer scent, right? and the performance has increased immensely. So those of you out there, and this goes for any fragrance, if you first buy this, right, look at the batch code on the bottom. It's usually on the bottom of the box. Sometimes it's on the bottom of the bottle. Look the batch code up. See when the particular bottle was actually made, and base your decision on that. The key takeaway here is the longer the bottle has been in existence, the stronger it's going to be. So I think it's very important not to judge perfumes or colognes on the very first spray when you first get a brand new bottle. That's my experience with Gucci Intense Oud, right? Just let it sit in the closet for several months, and I guarantee you, most of the time, it's going to result in a deeper, richer, and better performing fragrance for you. So, after all that, the performance on this. The performance is not what I would call beast mode, but it's above average. It's above average performance, right? I get about 7-8 hours of longevity on my skin. It projects very well for the first hour and a half, but then I find after that first hour and a half, it does quickly come closer to the skin. So yeah, and the sillage is not very heavy, maybe hangs around in the air for about 10 minutes after initial application. So like I said, it's not weak, it's actually above average as far as I'm concerned in every possible way. But intense, not really. I think the smell itself is very nice. Like I said, it's one of my favorites. But if you're worried about offending people or putting people off by wearing this, that's not a concern that you should have. This is not going to turn anybody off. It's a very accessible designer oud, and in my opinion, yes, it is definitely one of the best designer oud fragrances out there. It's unique as well. I find it's quite unique. It's got that smoky oud that, again, the oud is not intense. It's very accessible. Anybody can wear this. And the mix of the raspberry, the incense, and the smoky burnt accord towards the end of the life cycle here. Really enjoy this. I think it's very classy. So that brings me to the versatility factor. I think it's quite versatile. You could wear this in the office for sure. I think you could wear it to just about any occasion. It's not a cheap cologne, so I mean, I wouldn't go around spraying this as your day-to-day fragrance unless you're really lucky and have a lot of money. I think it leans formal, but I also think it could be worn to a date, going out with friends, for example. I wouldn't really want to wear this in a club, first of all, because it's just not that type of scent. It's too classy for that, you know what I mean? I have to mention the price. That's definitely a big consideration here. US, it costs around $130. This can be found on Fragrance Net. It's not the hardest fragrance to find, but I will say, especially with the holidays coming up, if you want to pick this up, I would definitely do it sooner rather than later. I'm going to leave the link for Fragrance Net below here in the description of the video, so you guys can go pick this up. Christmas is in less than a week. So Gucci Intense Oud. I highly recommend this one.